Hello, how are you? I'm Jorge from Canada. Welcome to the Ganja Show.
Hey George, welcome to the Ganjha show.
Thank you.
Extremely happy to have you here. Um, so you're in Canada right now, but which country do you actually come from?
Yes, thank you very much for this interview. Well, I am Mexican. I have been living in Canada for the last 3 years.
Sure. So let's talk about Mexico. The only thing us Indians know about Mexico is through the movie Narcos. Uh, yeah, the TV show Narcos, the drug smuggling and everything. So,
I know.
what is the situation with regards to cannabis or marijuana in terms of cartel and the number of criminal? What do you think? Uh, the current situation of cannabis or marijuana in Mexico is.
Yes, the story of marijuana, cannabis in Mexico, and the smuggling of cartels is about maybe 30 or 40 years ago. These guys start the smuggling and the drug trafficking with the U.S. mainly on those dates. They created on those. I mean, in the 70s or the 80s, they created uh, about five cartels that control the cannabis the cannabis smuggling: the cartel of Guadalajara, the cartel of Sinaloa, the cartel of Tijuana, the cartel of Ciudad Juarez, and the cartel of the Gulf of Mexico on those days. And they start with marijuana activities, and suddenly some of these guys start smuggling cocaine from Colombia, and Mexico is in the middle between Colombia and the US. So
Mhm.
they move, and they see that cocaine is better. They have better profits smuggling with cocaine.
Yeah.
So they start on those days. The story tell us about in those days they have agreements with Colombian guys, and they start this traffic between Mexico and Colombia, and they make several criminal organizations to smuggling in the U.S. So that's happened in the 70s or in the 80s, the late 70s. So after several years of world trafficking, now Mexico is having a big problem with crime and violence in the country. This is unfortunately, but yeah, now is at the fragmentation of the cartels in Mexico.
Hmm.
There's many more than the 70s or the 80s. So now it's a spiral of crime in several activities with cartels in Mexico.
Okay. Uh, yeah, I understand that Mexico is starting to smuggle cocaine. Do you think, not starting to actually, Mexico is the cocaine smuggler, but do you think the legalization of cannabis might help in reducing crime to a certain extent?
Unfortunately, I don't see that the legalization or regulation of cannabis will help with a with a with a low level of crime,
Hmm.
because now what I read and what I see when I went to Mexico, well, I read Mexican news all time,
Yeah.
and what I see is that there are many cartels, and they have several criminal activities. One of them is cannabis,
Okay.
other is cocaine, other is
Yeah.
amphetamines, other is extortion, other is the control or some legal activities. Well, an example of that is Mexico is very famous because the avocado exports
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
mainly to US to do guacamole and several things. The Mexican avocado is really appreciated by Americans. So some cartels also influence the control of imports of avocado in Mexico, specifically in the state of Michoacan.
Okay.
So as this is an example how these guys control several activities, or they like to be part of of extortion of these
Hmm.
of avocado growers. So I see that unfortunately, cannabis legalization will not be out of this of their interest, is what I mean.
Yeah.
So and some people said, oh, they are not interested in cannabis. Yes, maybe the top of the big cartels, they are not interested in cannabis. Is possible, but down below these guys, there
Mm.
are many little gangs or little cartels, and they are trafficking cannabis. So unfortunately, Mexico violence now is at the top levels. So what I see is that what will happen in Mexico, my opinion is the next is it will be when regulation starts, it will be controlled in some parts of the country. They will control the cannabis
Okay.
in a violent mode,
Yeah.
in a so this is one thing. The other
Even
will
though
be
it gets legalized, I mean the it will still be controlled by the cartels. Okay.
I think in some way
Yeah.
they will be part of the business.
Definitely.
I don't have it. I don't have now the idea in which part, but I think they will
Mhm.
have a part of the business after regulation or legalization. The second thing is that some people, non-violent, will be part of the illegal market too.
Hmm.
Some families will start growing cannabis, not with license, and they will sell cannabis, dry cannabis, and other products derived by cannabis,
Yeah.
not in a violent form. And there will be a third market, legal, with license, companies growing cannabis and do it in a legal way. So
Hmm.
I see three different possibilities how cannabis will be in the Mexican market.
Yeah.
Is what I see. It's like in Canada. In Canada, there is now a huge presence of black market or illegal market in the streets. Some people said, and some Health Canada said, and some other entrepreneurs and companies said that the illegal market in Canada is still more than 50%. So uh, this has happened in a country
Yeah.
like Canada. Canada is not a violent country.
Yeah, it's not
So
a violent or a corrupt country. Yeah, I
yes,
I also heard somewhere that that some plants or some batch of the crop which does not get approved by authority, and they ask them to destroy the crop. Usually, the farmer or the grower does not destroy the crop and sells it to the black market. That is also something that I've heard. Yeah, in countries where it's illegal. One interesting thing that you said was legalization of cannabis might not help in reducing of crimes.
no,
And
I don't think so.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I don't think so. Yeah,
yeah.
we
So
will see. We will see, but I don't think
definitely,
so.
yeah, yeah. It also sort of makes sense because there are other things that are wrong with the cartels, just not cannabis. But one of the interesting things that happened in US was people were propagating to legalize cannabis because they thought that these people are going to jail just because of a plant. Why is Mexico then? What is the main reason? Because Mexico wants to legalize cannabis.
The main reason is that they like to decriminalize some of the illegal activities of cannabis.
Okay.
One of these is the possession.
Hmm.
Some experts in crime and drugs policy, they said that it is a huge amount of people going to jail because the possession of cannabis.
Okay.
So maybe the policy that decriminalize cannabis will be better for people in jail, and maybe it is a possibility to have your own cannabis for your own consumption, no for commercial activities,
Yeah.
and you don't have a reason to go to jail.
Okay.
So this is important.
Yeah.
Uh, the
I see
this
a I see a lot of countries doing that actually. Not commercially legalizing it, but you can grow it for your own consumption. I think that was the
Yes,
case with Thailand. I think, and that
yes.
also makes sense. It's a plant.
One, yeah, it makes sense. So one of the bill now is a bill, is not a law. Now is a bill discussing in the Senate, and
Mhm.
Mexico has Mexico has a chamber of Senate and a chamber of deputies, so both the two chambers.
Hmm.
So what they see is that if they decriminalize, the justice will be fair
Hmm.
with people in terms of, possession, and they include another aspect in the law that includes the, the possibility to grow your own cannabis
Yeah.
for yourself, and a license to grow cannabis in a cooperative for 2 to 20 people. They will have the possibility to grow their own cannabis for their own corporation for
Hmm.
own consumption, not commercial activities.
Okay. I was also reading that in Mexico, the medical cannabis has been legalized, but I think the Ministry of Health is yet to make a law or yet to make processes on that. Uh,
Yes,
is that true? Yeah.
yeah, it's true. In 2016, 2017, the Mexican Congress approved the medical and the medical cannabis and the research.
Hmm.
So the next step when they approve the law is that the Ministry of Health needs to create a specific regulation called a reglamento, that which is a bylaw.
Okay.
But the delay of the bylaw takes 2 or 3 years, and when they set up the bylaw, it will be a mess because they granted some license and some permits to some companies, to some people, and when the new government arrived in 2000, 2 years ago, the new government see that this bylaw is not a is not uh, is not complying with other laws of import and export. So
Okay.
the Ministry of Economy said, you create a bylaw, and tell to the Ministry of Health, you create a bylaw and you don't ask us as a Ministry of Economy what is the terms of import and export. So the new government said, this is not a good this this law this bylaw is not compliant with the other Mexican laws.
Yeah.
So they revoked this bylaw. They revoked this reglamento,
Exactly.
and and
I think.
everything now is in a gray space of law.
Yeah.
That's
I think
that's the thing.
it's so much similar to India. Um,
Mm,
India hasn't passed any law yet, but there is a law that you can grow hemp in a certain state with less than 0.3% THC. And again, exactly like you said, I think Mexico and India have a lot of similarities in terms of
mhm.
the way government works. We also have two chambers. The kind of corruption that we have. Again, the government changes, the law changes, and the next government wants to make a statement, so they'll try and do new things.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, they make changes. They don't like they don't like the law.
Yeah.
Another thing is that they don't have experts in this industry, so they're changing
Okay.
some aspects of the law. They do some public. They have a period of public opinions of the law, and there's no experts advising them in general terms of what is better and what is the situation. One example of that is that they don't have a specific policy, one for hemp and one for marijuana.
Okay.
So some people like me said that said first authorized and legal hemp activities and legal and industrial hemp products, industrial growing crops. First go with hemp.
Yeah.
Second, pass the bylaw of medical cannabis because it's approved
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
And when you have medical and when you have hemp, stay for a while
And
and
then you can see.
wait. Yes, wait how is the business in medical and hemp, and then wait for 2 years and go to a recreational with marijuana.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is so on point because a lot of people think in India as well that it's going to just get legalized, but you need to see other countries and see their example. That's why I said I think Mexico in a certain way is very similar to India, and we will face the same challenges. some laws will
Absolutely.
come, some laws will come, people won't follow them, and a lot of other things will happen. uh, so, what do you think is the current state of recreational cannabis? Medical, like you said, the bylaws are yet to be made. What do you think? Is it going to happen anytime soon? What is the progress? Is the next government going to come in and change everything again?
You know what? They have, as I said, they have a deadline of December 15 to
Yeah.
create a full a regulation of cannabis. The thing is that Mexico, the Mexican legislative process have two periods in a year. So the second period start from September to December.
Hmm.
So now we are in the middle of October, and they don't discuss yet the bill in the Senate.
Hmm.
So they have a really short period of time to discuss. I mean, 2 6 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, to discuss this real challenging industry and business.
Yeah.
So I don't see a progress in the last weeks. I don't see any media or any legislative activity now. So I'm not sure if they have enough time to create a real strong regulation, a real strong law about cannabis, all the cannabis industry in 6 weeks. Is really a short period of time. So
Yeah.
I don't see what happened. Maybe they will move to a little regulation. Maybe they decriminalize. Maybe they change some aspects, and they comply with the Supreme Court, and they have many, and they have probably more time the next year. So these next weeks will be really crucial in terms of what is happening now, because some people are doing are selling illegal CBD products in Mexico. Some
Same
people
thing.
are
Same thing is happening in
yes,
India.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you like CBD in Mexico, instead that you go to a pharmacy, you go to Facebook, or you go to WhatsApp or to social media to get them. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah. Uh, I think first of all the best to Mexico if they can come up with something. But one thing I think is very prominent is either an issue, for example, marijuana is an issue. It should be either in favor of government, then they will try and legalize it, or there should be media who's pressurizing the government to do something. And in
No,
this case,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, both of the things are not happening.
yeah, not happening. Yeah, the real pressure starts with the groups, with some uh, cannabis enthusiasts,
Yeah,
and the pressure is mainly by them, because they said that they need the right to consume cannabis.
yeah,
And so there's some movement and some groups doing that. Some companies are also pressing, because companies need a legal framework to do business.
mm,
And I mean Mexican companies, international companies, and the alliance of both. I am working in several projects in that. So we need to have a legal framework to start doing legal business in Mexico.
yeah. Exactly. Thank you, George. Thank you so much for informing
Thank you,
us
Vipin.
on the subject of Mexico. Uh,
I'm
yeah,
really happy to be here. Thank you very much